I now have the pleasure of introducing a dear friend of mine, and Phyllis Talley has been a heart and soul of this school, and I just love what she has done and the passion she brings. Have fun.
Wow, this is intimidating. Good morning, everyone. Some of you may know my son, Jason. You may know him because of football, that he plays for the #1 team in the state, Jesuit Crusaders. You might even know that he's one of the top 3 leading running backs in touchdowns scored and yards gained. But what you don't know is the very difficult journey to get him to this place, for him to be able to do his dream and play football and even maybe at the next level. Jason is the youngest of our 4 children, and there's quite an age span, 15 years, I think. Jason and I had a traumatic birthing experience. In fact, it was because of toxemia, and both of our lives were in danger. And I share this only because, as a parent, when we have children with learning difficulties, we question ourselves as to what may have gone wrong or what you might have done to cause it. And I'm one of those. Jason, in his preschool years, before he even started school, he was such a delight. He loved the memory game, and he could beat everyone in our family, hands down. We even got like an additional box to put with the first one, just to kind of win something, but Jason would always win. He also, about the age of 3, he loved Chris, and I think Chris was the one who prayed for Jason. I don't know, Jason was a surprise for Wendell and I. But during track season, Jason would run a full lap with Chris around the track, every track meet, and that was their kind of thing to do. So just being a delight for us, when he would laugh and smile, his eyes would light up, and you could see right to Jason's heart. But then his difficult years began when we started in elementary. Jason, not long after starting, would hide under his desk. He would run out of the room and hide in the common room under the tables. And it even got to the point where Jason got out of school and he ran around the building, and he was just running laps. The answer to that was to call the police. So he felt either they could not or would not address the anxiety and the difficulty of him not understanding what was going on in the classroom. Nevertheless, they couldn't help. We tried many different schools. The focus for Jason quickly became behavior, not so much his academic struggles. For years, he would flip his letters and his numbers, homework. It was an all-night struggle with absolute minimal results. My son got to the point where he would not eat. He couldn't sleep. And if you're like a ball, if you kick a ball and the ball rolls forward, there's a momentum with that. Jason seemed to be rolling backwards with that same momentum. And for the life of me, with all the heartache, I could not get my son to succeed. I knew that if I could get him into a school that would understand him, would understand his learning, then my son would soar. I saw the giftedness. We saw the giftedness in Jason, and it's not just football. He had a tender heart. He loved people, but I had lost my son. My son wouldn't look people in the eye. He would not carry on conversation. School was of utmost challenge for Jason. Fortunately, though, for us, we got some professionals to come alongside us. Notably, it would be the children's program. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the program, but they are amazing. We got some testing done on Jason, and the tester called me in, and she went over it with me. She says, you know, if I'm just looking at these papers, I'm going to tell you, your son's retarded. She said, in some areas, that's what he tests. She says, and in other areas, he tests right off the chart. And I said, okay, then, age-old question. How do we bridge the gap from this to this? Where's the happy ground here? Because I know my son is gifted. It was so heartbreaking. And I'm cutting it short because I want to get to the good part. So Edison. We first learned about Edison from our third son who went to Jesuit. He played with a young man that was also attending here at Edison and playing football for Jesuit. And we heard of his story, and it was success. And so it gave us great hope. Jason, his sports are football, track, and lacrosse. He kind of gave up lacrosse to play football. But hearing about Edison gave him some hope that he might be able to follow his dreams. He really, to be honest, he didn't want to come to Edison. He did not want to be labeled anymore with all the negative labels that he had. The R word, retarded, that is not ever uttered at Edison. We convinced him, though, if he would give Edison a year, and if he wasn't a good match, then we would reconsider. One day, it was about 3 weeks, I don't know, it was within the first term of school. We're in the car and we're riding home from school, and I chanced it. I chanced that very difficult question. I asked Jason, how's school going, buddy? He says, Mom, I like it. I like it. I need to be there. I like the teachers. About the same time, I'm seeing my son standing up straight, shoulders squared, extending his hand, shaking adults' hands, wanting to engage them in conversation. My son was returning. It was absolutely incredible. I would like to tell you, though, this all happened like freshman year. I'd like to tell you that things got a lot easier. I can't. But Jason was no longer using fight or flight when he became overwhelmed. The Edison teachers and staff have been giving him improved skills to deal with the anxiety and the fear of failing. They looked beyond Jason's fears, and they gave him what he needed. They gave him love and dedication, sound structure, and boundaries. They addressed the core of what my son needed. They affirmed him that he has the ability to learn, teaching him how to advocate for himself and how to be successful. So I can tell you, even with the bumps in the road, our son knows that he can be successful academically. I think Jason, I found it hard to look at his grades through the years because they were so low. But my son got his grades, all A's and 1B this term. My son rocks. So I can tell you with the bumps in the road, he knows he has it academically and personally. There's a verse in the Psalms 127 that says, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Children born to a young man are like a sharp arrow in a warrior's hand. I believe this of all children. Many times I remind Jason that Jason is our bow. He's our arrow and our bow. And we got it about right here. We just had this conversation. He's like, Mom, I'll be 18 in a couple of months and I'll be grown. I'm like, I think we have you, let's see, we have you about right here. Have you about right here. And we have to go all the way back here. But the teachers and staff at Edison, they are the tension also, helping us to pull the arrow back in the bow. And when we launch our children, they soar. They'll be able to soar in their giftedness in any area of society because that's what they were born to do. And we as parents and our teaching staff at Edison have been a great part of our children's success. I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful, and thank you's not even strong enough for the gratitude that I feel for our teachers. Can I have our teachers stand, please, and our staff? This is our team. This is our team. And we love you, and we thank you so much for being there for our son, for being there for us, for being there for the many families that need you here at Thomas Edison.